Real World News TV with Reggie Kearney and Chair Ann Tappan, bringing you news and politics. Real World News TV, every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. Real World News TV, the most interactive, longest-running radio and television show under the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. Real World News TV, where your comments and your views are welcome. Real World News TV, news for us, by us, that affects us all. Real World News TV.
Good evening and welcome to Real World News TV. I'm your host, Shara Ann Tappan McCabe, and joining me this evening, we have Reggie Kearney, the editor and publisher of the Urban Sentinel, and our illustrious producer, Tony Breedlove. Good evening, you all. How are you?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm tuckered. I'm not going to lie. It's been a rough few weeks, but we're here.
Yeah.
What counts?
What'd you say,
what
Reggie?
we got tonight?
That's what counts, being here.
This is true. Present and accounted for.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, in keeping with current events, we were going to speak about the life and accomplishments of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and what her passing means in terms of Trump and the Republican Party's push to replace her with a extremely conservative judge. First, I wanted to start by saying what everybody knows. Mrs. Ginsburg was a phenomenal woman. And in reading a bit about her biography, it really makes you wonder if she had come up in a different time. The environment and times that she came up in where to even start? She delayed going to school to help her brother go to school and finish school. She delayed finishing college to help her husband finish getting his degree, and even helped him get his degree and study and take notes and whatnot while he himself was diagnosed with cancer. She eventually finished school, top of the class in Cornell, and then went on to other schools. And it was as a result of pursuing law, a profession that was predominantly male-dominated at the time, that she was exposed to gender discrimination. And I was asking myself today, if not for that, would she have evolved into the woman that she became, the notorious RBG, and what other people refer to as a feminist icon? And it's like all of the ingredients were there early on in her life to lead to this woman becoming a Supreme Court justice. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm heartened and sad on her behalf for the challenges that she had early in life. But this woman met every challenge head on and overcame it. At a time and age where women were expected to shut up, stay home, pregnant in the kitchen, cooking and whatnot. She raised a child while going to school, finished school, top of her class, beat out all of these men who thought they were all this in a bag of chips, so that she was way more intelligent than them, joined the ACLU, fought for women's rights. I mean, this woman was a powerhouse. Yeah. And God bless her for sticking around. That commitment she had to the cause of equality, universal equality, and fighting discrimination had her fighting for that literally into her dying breath. And you just don't see that level of commitment much anymore. And for that, I'm both grateful for the example she set. I'm grateful for the things that she accomplished, because if not for her, Tony and I might not even be here right now having this discussion, having gone to school, had the jobs that we had and the career we had. And it deeply concerns me to think that some of the nominations that Trump is considering replacing her not only benefited from the gains that she made on behalf of women. She's, like this Amy Barrett. She's like a white female version of Clarence Thomas. who benefited from affirmative action. She benefited from the gains that she made in the women's movement and discriminatory employment practices and equal pay, et cetera, and now stands in a position potentially to undo all of that. And I am disgusted and repulsed by it.
So let me ask you this question, and this is for Reggie too. So with the picks that have been announced, well, there were the two this morning, which they're saying that could be upwards of 5 or 6. The two this morning, I mean, what do you think that makes them not take into consideration all of the advances that RBG provided for us as women in a whole? What makes them think that this is okay to turn that cheek, to do something different, do something else that is clearly going to be something that takes us back to the dark ages because we've come so far as women? Why do you think that they would have that position?
It's all about being a conservative. That's the bottom line of it. I mean, they carry the conservative values, and they're going to push the conservative values. Granted, Ruth put them all in a position to be where they are today, but that's gotten thrown out the window. They don't care. I mean, you got to look at these ladies have been conservative all their lives, and they've gotten positions because of their conservatism. So why should they bend? I mean, that's that. Why should they bend?
Why?
I want to add to that. First of all, I know a lot of conservatives that aren't anti-women's rights. So I tend to refer to these people as neoconservatives because they're a whole extreme version. But why would we expect them to do anything different when Trump literally spent his entire presidency undoing all of the gains that Obama did and his administration did? That's all that he is choosing these justices to stack the conservative court, not only to undo everything that would be considered liberal, which unfortunately equal pay for women, no gender discrimination, discrimination on sex and whatnot. Apparently all of that is considered liberal. I don't get that. But also to stack the court so that they could set the stage to fight the election if Trump loses. This is twofold, you know, and I mean, just look at the organization that Amy Barrett belongs to. What is it? Praise of the People, Praise for the People, which apparently Margaret Atwood used as inspiration for her writing of the book, The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's a really scary thought to think that this woman will become a justice of the Supreme Court. And she's the youngest nominee. She's what, all of 48 years old? It's a lifetime appointment.
Right. So she'll be there forever.
She'll be there forever. You know,
just doesn't make sense to me.
The only saving grace that I have to keep my sanity is that the last few justices that Trump put in office and McConnell put in office and whatnot voted against them, ruled against them in a few cases recently. They ruled against the conservative agenda, and I can't recall the specific cases right now. I can look them up. But I was pleasantly surprised that they went off script. So maybe there's some hope that these justices will have a come to Jesus moment and realize that they're supposed to uphold the law of the land and not necessarily support this would-be fascist administration.
This country has not had a come to Jesus moment. I'm sorry, Reggie, I didn't mean to interrupt. This country has not had a come to Jesus moment. So what would make them have that epiphany to do the right thing?
I don't know, but they did. In a couple of cases, they did the right thing. So at least they showed they're capable.
They didn't do anything. You got to remember, Roberts has always been a swing vote when liberal causes have been won. Okay, now you have 5. What is it now? It's 9 on board. You're gonna have what, 6-3. You don't have that opportunity for Roberts to be the swing vote anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason the dreamers were able to, stay above water, and some of the other cases were able to stay above water. Now you got a complete conservative group. Now he did lose one, I think, when it came down to his taxes, the ability for people to watch his taxes. I think everybody voted in favor of that, except for one Republican, which was probably Clarence Thomas. But other than that, it's always been Roberts has always been able to swing over to the side of the Democrats to make sure the Democrats, were able to put on a vote. Democrats don't have that anymore, and so you would think that, see, these ladies, whoever the lady is, Amy, whoever is, she's not going to sit there and think about, well, what would Ruth do? She's not going to think like that.
Of course not.
She's thinking about what her ideological beliefs are. And that's how she's going to judge, and she's going to rule. Now, we might get a few bones thrown out there to us, to the liberal side, but overall, it's going to be a conservative agenda, unless it's something way off. I don't see those conservatives that are on there now supporting civil rights or voting rights.
Mm. I don't know. I don't either, Reggie.
I don't trust them. I don't see it. Because it's gotten to political sides, okay? They've gotten to the point now where they feel like they have to carry out the agenda of the president of the United States.
So we no longer have a separation of offices. We no longer have a judicial, executive, and legislative branch.
No, you don't. You don't.
In your position, do you ever feel any undue influence to go one way or another?
No.
That's good.
Do what I want to do. Because all I'm gonna do is follow the law. That's all I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But when you get to the appellate courts and you get to the federal level and you get up to the Supreme Court, those guys are writing opinions based on the law. Now they can take the opinion and screw it any way they want to screw it based on the law to fit the agenda that they're looking to fit. They can always say, even though this says this is why I feel, or the court feels this way. So they can sway it, they can do a play on words, and that's what they do. That's all they're doing, is doing a play on words, because they're offering an opinion.
Yeah, but one would expect, yes, it's an opinion, but it's supposed to be a learned opinion based on precedent.
Yeah, okay.
It's supposed to be that. We'll take Clarence Thomas out of the picture for a second, since he was a C student to begin with. Amy doesn't have a lot of experience writing opinions or affecting.
And that's the problem. That's the whole problem with the Supreme Court, and that's the problem with the federal court and the district court. That's the problem. They got a lot of these young folks on there. I think they appointed one guy who never even tried a case before.
Kavanaugh was one, I think, right?
No, I'm talking about on the federal. I'm talking on the federal level. They appointed a guy, no experience at being a prosecutor, no experience at trying a case. He doesn't even know how to spell the word case. But he was able. The senator in his state was able to. Well, it wasn't able. They just did it. He went through the process.
They've appointed over 200 judges since Trump has been elected. Roger, do you know how many judgeships there are nationwide to begin with? 260
federal judgeships. They got 60 more to fill.
Oh, geez, Christmas. It's going to be a rough ride.
So that's why you always say. That's why you might see a person in Pennsylvania might go to California to try a federal case so they can get a favorable ruling from a liberal-leaning judge. Because if you're a liberal, are you gonna go up in the Republican court and ask them to, rule in favor of your case?
So you're right.
So you find somebody in another state that can take the case over for you and move that case for you through a favorable. That's why Trump was having a fit. That's how he was having a fit at the beginning of his tenure, because everything he was doing as far as immigration was getting thrown out by liberal federal judges. And that's why he had made a statement that he was ready to, he wasn't going to replace him as they fell off. He wasn't going to be replacing them. Mm-hmm. Because unless he replaced him with people that were favorable to him. So that's why I say, yes, Ruth did a lot for you all ladies, but I mean, the favor is not going to be returned. I mean, it's a whole different ball game. And I was thinking today, and I'm going to be honest with you, I blame the Democrats for the predicament they're in now.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because the Republicans have always played dirty. They've always gone against the grain. We don't. We want to always. Democrats want to be seen as to the good shoes, and this is where to the good shoes is guiding us right now.
Goody two shoes.
Goody two shoes, to the good, whatever. Okay.
That's so cute.
I ain't on to them cliches. And give me some black cliches. I'll be okay. But that's the thing. They allow themselves to get in this predicament. Because first of all, I think the Democrats could have held the White House if Hillary hadn't won. Okay, but the deal was, okay, we're gonna let Obama run. We'll give you your opportunity. So when Obama finished running, it was like, okay, a Chicago boss type of thing. Okay, Hillary, this is your opportunity. But Hillary had too much crap with her. Those emails killed her. Her husband killed her. She had too much crap going on with her. She
had significantly less crap than Trump does. I mean, that's
first of all, she was a woman with a lot of crap, okay? And they weren't ready for
3 degrees of. So let me get this straight: a woman with this much crap versus a man with this much crap. That's the very shit that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was fighting against to begin with.
But the thing was, regardless, Hillary was not the Democratic person that should have ran for office that time.
Then who should have been?
I'll be honest. I think Joe should have ran the last time. I think he should have ran, but they put him off because they wanted Hillary to have her opportunity. Female, male, or anything. She had too much stuff going on. Benghazi killed her. Those emails killed her. Things were killing her.
All these manufactured crises that at the end of the day weren't even crises. When you compare the shit that Trump was accused of before he won and after.
But the thing was, but let me say something else. She shouldn't have been the person that ran. White America was nauseated from the fact that a black man and his family had stayed in the house for 8 years. So like I heard somebody say today, they vomited up Trump, okay?
Seriously.
All right. Racism went into this thing too. The hatred for having a female become the first president went into it too. Okay.
That was the driving force, not two.
And the thing is, if Biden wins, would the world be ready for Kamala when it comes up for her opportunity to run for president?
That's if Biden were to last a full 4 years.
Oh, he'll last a full 4 years. I think he'd be all right. He might even push it in 8 years. But the thing is, will America be ready for a black female when her time comes?
The unfortunate thing is, and I just want to backpedal to something you said before, race was the deciding factor, full stop. It wasn't the economy, because our economy was doing better after 8 years of Obama. Right. It wasn't unemployment, because unemployment was decreasing significantly under Obama. It wasn't international relations, because we were respected internationally. It wasn't the fight for equality, because he helped pass legislation for equality for women, equal pay, the Ledbetter Act for women, gay marriage. It was none of that. It was racism, pure and simple, full stop. And if we keep feeding into this notion that racial disharmony was also a contributing factor, then that feeds into the rights narrative. That feeds into the rights narrative that Trump is the one who's responsible for the decline in unemployment, that Trump is the one who fixed our economy, where we now owe more money than we have in our entire history.
Right.
So let's not get it twisted. I'm not going to play with words, call a spade a spade. Obama left us here, like all the other past Democratic presidents, left us in the black, no pun intended. And the Republicans drive us into the dirt. The 1%ers make all the money in the world. And for some reason, the racist middle Americans, for some, that's satisfying. It's good enough for them that the elite on top are doing well and that they're stepping on people of color, brown and black people. That's enough for them. They could lose their jobs, lose their house, lose their insurance, die from COVID. Apparently, none of that matters.
Nope. It's all about race.
Yeah, but my cousin stated that 45 hates the Ninth Circuit Court because that's where he always loses at, is in the Ninth Circuit Court. You know. So, you know, getting back to, you know, the doors that Ruth opened up. I mean, she opened up a lot of doors. But like I said, these people, they're going to close a lot of doors, okay? Because like I said, the Democrats play wimp ball, okay? And the Republicans play hardball. The Republicans don't care. At the end of the day, the Republicans could give a hoot if you love them or hate them. Because somebody said today, I heard that McConnell is the most powerful man in the country. Okay, he is. He's got more power than Trump got. When you can hold 300-something bills on your desk that will benefit the country and not pass them because you don't like them, you don't think Trump is, he holds on to them. Okay, you know all the conservatives are trying to do is this. They know that their time of reckoning is coming, where they're going to lose a lot of seats in the Senate. They're probably going to lose the White House, and they're going to have, and where they already lost control of the Congress. Okay, They know that,
unless they cheat,
but they know that they will have the courts, so they can take the court system and run the court system themselves through their Republican cronies for years to come. Okay, because if something they don't like that the liberals have done, what they're going to do? They're going to file a lawsuit in the courts and let it run up to the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, there's talk of the Democrats.
We're screwed. You know that, right?
Well, not necessarily. The Democrats would have the ability, if they could get control of the Senate, to increase the number of justices in the court. But this is the problem you have then.
Too many opinions, not going to get passed.
What if we lose the House and lose the Senate in 10 years? There'll be retribution and payback. Okay,
it is ridiculous how we have dropped down to our basest denominator in all levels of government.
Yeah.
We are so far off script in what the Constitution wanted, what the designation for the powers for each branch was supposed to be. Like, I don't know what kind of alternate universe we're living in right now, but it's I would hate to be a law school student who just graduated and was looking to get into politics, because whatever you thought your path was, you have. How do you know where to go? It's not there anymore.
It's not there.
Politics is not a honorable game anymore. Okay, it's not.
It used to be, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be, but it's not no more. You know, you're taking chances with your life of becoming a politician because people are always looking for you to do something wrong. You know, and they revel in that, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat. If you do something wrong, boy, your picture gonna get plastic, and they're gonna talk all kinds of stuff about you. They don't care.
Well, only if you're an independent or a Democrat. If you're a Republican, you can afford to get it swept under the rug until you piss the wrong person off.
They don't. All the pedophiles, all the Republican pedophiles, have been called out.
And aren't they still working?
Some of them are not working, you know. But still, the thing is, you don't want, regardless if you're Republican or Democrat, you don't want your whole life ran through the national television. You know, you don't want that. I mean, it used to be that this stuff didn't come out. Well, if they did something, one of the big bosses will come talk to you. You resign gracefully. Nobody never knew what happened. Now, before you resign, your whole stuff is out there. It's just out there.
Well, it almost doesn't matter anymore.
They don't care.
No, it doesn't matter anymore, because Trump, he really set the stage for permissibility in terms of blatantly lying. So he can say something now and 5 minutes from there deny that he said it, even if it's on freaking video. And so you see every single day other politicians following suit, regardless of whether it's their own direct quote from a book they wrote that they did a movie about, or that it was an interview that they said. It doesn't, like, I don't know what other kind of proof you need now. You can't have DNA of spoken word. That's basically video.
Yeah.
And video is not working anymore.
Nothing.
These people can lie, flip the script, and say it was taken out of context, and you will get these, I keep wanting to say inbred, and really that's not fair. But it just makes me, no, because I want to be fair, right? I hate it when they refer to people as libtards, so I don't want to go there. I'm trying to be good. And I think that's the handicap that the left has, that they're trying to be good, that they're not fighting with insults and they're not fighting with lies because they always want to take the high road. And quite frankly, the Republican Party has the lead on PR spin. I don't know who is firing.
But when do we pick up our balls as Democrats and run this country like we want to run it? Okay, we can't. Okay, we're gonna keep talking about this mess that we're gonna ride a high road. We're gonna go when they go low, we go high. Okay, let's keep going high while they go low and see where it gets us 10 years from now.
Yeah.
This country is in bad shape, and we continue to ride along with it, and we're happy about it. Okay.
To be politically correct.
I don't know. I have a problem with the term politically correct because that has been spun so far you can't even see the thread.
You can't
anymore.
even see the thread.
Okay, so I'm taking that term out of my vocabulary altogether. There's a thing about being morally and ethically correct and on the right side of the law and on the right side of history, or you're not. And I totally understand your point. We need to take the gloves off, and I say we euphemistically because I'm an independent. But again, I said this before, the right has a particular skill at gaslighting and spin doctoring because they have no freaking morals, ethics, or integrity. And in order to fight fire with fire, it's like you have to lose your soul. And if you do that, have you not lost the distinction between your party and the other?
Right.
You know,
it's a fine line.
Yeah, you take Rush Limbaugh, okay? Rush
I'd rather
Limbaugh
not.
has made it through these years, and unfortunately, he hasn't died yet. I'm gonna say it because that's how I feel about him, okay? But for the name calling he did once Kamala was selected to be vice president, the things he said, he should have been taken off the radio.
Absolutely.
But how can you take him off the radio when the FCC is controlled by Trump cronies?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what we have lost it at. And we don't have to call names. We don't have to call names and go kicking them and knocking them around. But we need to have a firmer hand on what we want, and we need to carry it out.
You know, I was having a discussion with somebody online today, or I responded to something that somebody posted, and I don't know if it was a real person or a troll because there's so much of that bullshit going on. I said it, Tony. I said it. And somebody wrote, you know, isn't the left hypocritical? And they posted all of these video snippets of Democrats talking about we need to fill this position immediately prior to, you know, at the end of the prior to the end of the 2016 election, when they wanted to fill a justice position, which they were well in their rights to do because historically speaking, that was allowed. That was the process. It was the norm. It was accepted. And I said to this dimwit, I said, you don't get to pull this card now and call Democrats hypocrites, because at that time in history, they were 100% right. Republicans set the stage for flipping the script and making the argument that somebody shouldn't be allowed to place a Supreme Court justice this close to the end of their reign, if you will, before an election. Obama was 6 months out. Trump is 54 days out. And my question to you, Reggie, when you talk about fighting fire with fire, is how do you fight fire with people that have such deeply rooted cognitive dissonance that lies don't hurt them and the truth doesn't faze them? So how do you fight against that? How do you fight against stupid?
One thing you got to do, you got to turn the rhetoric up, okay? You know, I look at AOC in the game. They turn the rhetoric up on them. Okay, they're not afraid to say what they have to say and do what they have to do. You know, but what you have, you got two sets of Democrats. You got the far left Democrats. You got a little leaning to the left Democrats, and you got the moderate Democrats. And what's happened A lot of these, and that's why I say you need term limits. A lot of the old heads have gotten so set in their ways, they feel that you can't go too far to the left and saying what you have to say. You can't ratchet up that rhetoric.
Okay?
Well, you have to admit, it's right now it's do or die, right? So if they ratchet it up and lose as a result of that, we lose more Democratic seats in the House.
But you're going to lose. Okay, we done lost, okay? We have lost. Okay, there's nothing we can do to stop 45 from getting this justice in, okay? But now, how do we react to it when we come in November, hopefully, and win the Senate back? How do we handle it, okay? That's what we got to plan for. Okay, how are you going to handle this situation?
You know, when you have intelligent women like Kamala, like AOC, I'm a fan of hers. She doesn't pull her punches. Right. I'm a big fan of hers. Got the AOC lipstick on here, holla. But clearly she's intelligent. Clearly she's using facts. Clearly she does her research. But when you've got another side that does nothing but automatically dismiss everything she says as extreme left, whether that's true or not, how do you fight that?
And that's where our problem is. Okay? That's where
at some point it shouldn't even matter.
Huh?
At some point it shouldn't even matter.
It shouldn't matter. But that's where the Democratic Party screws up at, okay?
What, we need more AOC or less?
You probably need more.
I would love more.
Okay, look at the Republican Party, how they got into that split. Okay, things weren't going good for them, so the Tea Party came along. But look how vocal that small group of people were that scared the EBGBs out of the Republican leadership.
Heebie-jeebies, yeah.
They had them strung. They had them strung out. They had McConnell, all them guys strung out. They had the people in Congress strung out because they demanded and they were going to flip the script. Okay, it worked for a while, but then it ended. Okay.
Yeah, well, we need to maintain that steam, that energy, and it seems to have dissipated a little bit. You're right about that.
I heard somebody say Republicans are scared of socialism. Okay.
We already have socialism.
But listen, you didn't let me finish my statement, okay? I'm put you in the corner. You're going to time out.
You're pulling my strings, you know.
Yeah, they are scared of socialism, but they support fascism. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Figure that one out.
Yeah. No, 100%. And you know, and just to clarify, yes, we already have socialist systems. The police department is paid by tax dollars. The infrastructure is paid by tax dollars. But we're also looking at an administration, even before they were in office and now, that has been working to try to privatize those things. So they even want to get rid of that so they can have their nice little gated communities that have their sanitation and their private police, and everybody else can go straight to hell.
You know, so, you know, Ruth opened up a can of worms, okay? In a sense that she got the stuff rolling, okay? I mean, you said earlier, where would she have been if she hadn't had to stop for school and stop to help her husband and stop to raise kids and things of that nature? God has a way of ordering your footsteps, okay?
Yeah.
And your footsteps might not get ordered in the way that you want them to get ordered, okay? So if she had went straight from high school, went straight to college, went straight to law school, you would never gotten none of these benefits because the obstacles wouldn't have been there because they weren't hiring women then during that time. Okay, she would have never got hired, would have never gotten noticed. She would have been a housewife with a law degree. But she came at a time when things were changing. The civil rights movement was going. So she said, okay, let me go work with the ACLU. And that's where her springboard was. You know, so she was at the right time.
That I get the impression that her husband must have been supportive because he didn't hold her back. You know, I mean, she helped raise him up while he had cancer and finish his school, and then he stood back and let her do that. Now I don't know if that's her, right? I want to. I haven't seen it yet.
It is really good.
And I don't know what to call that guy in the White House. Man, she made a
You want me to call
it? On feet.
Yeah, she made a statement to her granddaughter what her wishes were and her hopes were after she passed away. And the dingbat gonna come out and say, well, it could have been Pelosi who wrote that, could have been Shoemaker or nothing. Yeah. He has no empathy or no sympathy for no one.
None whatsoever. Yeah. And the video of when he found out about it at the rally,
you know what?
I don't know if that was music added after the fact or
no, that was music that was still playing. That was music
sounded really scripted to me. Goodbye, Laura Jean.
No, it was music that was playing at the whatchamacallit, okay? That little rally he had. People don't wear masks at.
A very depressing song to play at a political rally. Yeah. I'm saying it was too
well
timed.
All the liberal songwriters told him not to play that music.
Yeah, because
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
No, because it was because you got to realize he's parking the plane right at the hangar now. Okay, he's trying to have these airport rallies where he just jumps off the plane, goes get on the stage, and does his thing, get off. So hey, it was there. It was kind of ironic, that they hadn't finished, but you could tell the way he was talking at a high pitch and everything, loud that it could. But like they said, he knew that she was dead, that she had passed away before he got to that point. Yeah. Okay, because as soon as he finished his speech, people told him about
it. Really? Oh, how sad.
He gonna act like he was surprised once he got there. He wasn't surprised. He already knew it.
Yeah, he probably had to. What were you gonna say, Tony?
I was disgusted because he knew. Mm-hmm. He knew. Mm-hmm. And to put up this facade like it was a surprise.
Yeah.
They know every move that each one of them make. They knew that she was sick. They were just waiting around like vultures for her to die.
Exactly. And McConnell and Graham and all these truly hypocritical motherfuckers, pardon my French, but I have to say it, girl. It's just like I said, and I said to this person online, the Republicans set the stage, they set precedent. We're using their tool against them. You can't get mad. But then again, what's good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander when the gander is a neo-Republican racist piece of shit. And McConnell and Graham, they said on tape at the time, in 2016, if at the end of the next term, we have the same situation, you can use my words against me, and I will support this position, and you can hold me accountable. And now they're flipping the script, jumping over backwards, contorting themselves in every way imaginable to make this new position right. There is absolutely no integrity, none whatsoever.
Well, they don't care.
And I hope the ghost of Ginsburg haunts that courthouse.
Ooh,
well,
yeah.
The thing is, it's going to hurt them politically. Okay, Lindsey Graham, he's in a tight race in South Carolina. For the election.
Yeah, there are a few people who are up for re-election here. I think I put their names down.
It's about 5 of them that we should be able to take the seats from.
And they're hemming and hawing, and they're going to wait until the last possible minute to make a decision.
It's a done deal. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. So we just got to live with it. It is what it is.
And meanwhile, let's see here. You've got Susan Collins of Maine, Laura Murkowski of Alaska, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Charles Grassley of Ohio, Mitt Romney of Utah, and a couple of others. And they're hemming and hawing.
All the three, then it's only down to the 2 women. All 3 guys have said they're going to vote now.
Yeah.
They announced today they're going to vote. The 2 ladies doesn't make a difference.
Meanwhile,
it takes 4.
Meanwhile, what I don't understand, take party out of it for a second. Let's just look at ourselves as men and women for a second. Since Trump has been in office, he's cut international funding for women's rights and reproductive health. He's blocked laws promoting equal pay in the workplace for women. He has a pathological inability to hire women in his administration. And I don't mean the Kellyannes and those little mouthpieces they have for him and the sacrificial lambs they put at the podium to speak his lies on his behalf, but in his actual administration. And he has censored federal documents, research organizations, and assorted government agencies from mentioning anything related to reproductive rights, science, transgender diversity, equality, all of that. And then he's going to stand there at the stage and say no one loves women more than him, and that he's going to choose a woman. He's going to choose a woman like that in and of itself is doing us a favor.
He does love women.
No, he loves punani. He doesn't love women.
Hands on them.
Huh?
As long as he can put his hands on them. That's all they're good for.
He loves women.
He'd love an olive jar. He'd love a jar filled with olive oil and a sponge. Okay, it doesn't have to be a woman.
But you gotta understand.
He's
you gotta understand. His biggest problem is the women around him have never had to work. No woman that's around him has had to work. So he doesn't understand that women do work and they do need to have their pay, in par with what the men make. He doesn't understand that. Because look at his 3 wives. None of them work nowhere.
Oh.
They haven't done
His daughter claims to work.
No, they don't. She doesn't work either.
She doesn't work.
That's like claims.
Yeah, so he doesn't understand what real women do. Okay, he got a fake prostitute as a wife. I mean, no, she was a real prostitute.
She's a real prostitute.
Yeah, as a wife.
And yet she's more intelligent than he is. I will give that to her.
I don't know. I think
they speak more than one language as far as I know. And for that, you have to be intelligent. But really, anybody could be more intelligent than Trump. Let's not split hairs there.
She speaks one language. That's all. She's lied about all her credentials, okay?
Those the degrees I buy, but language I believe.
Language-wise, she can't speak one thing. She can't speak English good.
No. I don't buy the degrees, but I do buy that she's multilingual. Because at the end of the day, most Europeans are, quite frankly.
Okay, she's bilingual. She speaks a little bit of English in her homeland. Okay.
And she speaks ho.
Oh my God! You mean she speaks WAP?
No, she speaks ho. Okay.
How do you say WAP in Russian?
They should have had her in the WAP video.
Oh my God, that would have been off the chain. Off the chain. Forgive me, universe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. And I wanted to make another point too. Ruth, her fight for women's reproductive rights also had a positive effect on men. And here's how. Because studies have shown that for couples within the high school to college age group, for those that had pregnancies that ended in abortion, there was a marked increase in the likelihood of the men finishing college, getting a degree, and leading lives of financial stability. So in some respects, one could say that men should champion her as well. But when you stand back and look at why they want to reverse Roe versus Wade, I don't believe for a second that for the neo-right, it has anything to do with the rights of the fetus or the preciousness of children. When you look at how they allow children to be treated in this country, whether immigrants, illegal, legal, or born here, hell, they just allowed a 13-year-old autistic boy to be shot in the street. So it has nothing to do with children. It has everything to do with controlling the population. You're dumbing us down. You're making it impossible for us to reach financial success. You're eliminating the opportunity for us to make decisions about our bodies so that we can pursue a means of success. You're putting every potential obstacle in our way for what? To control us and to have a workforce to continue making dollars for you. I have a problem with that.
Well,
I couldn't have said it better.
When you look at the tax bill that was passed a couple of years ago, it benefited the rich. I mean, you look at Bezos. Bezos, he's a liberal, but look how much money he's made, and he hasn't paid taxes on nothing. Okay,
that's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Personally, I think that companies that ship out, that export jobs should be taxed at a higher rate. I don't think that they should be allowed to avoid taxes. And I think once you hit a certain tax bracket, you need to get back to the country that you live in, because it's on our backs that you're making that money.
Mm-hmm. But Ruth is gonna be missed. I know I'm gonna miss her because that vote, we needed that vote, but You know, do we pull the trigger when January comes around and go after them and say, look, we're going to put 10 Democrats on the Supreme Court?
I just don't know. I don't like that idea. Number one, it increases the number of opinions, which means that in many instances, it's going to take even longer to win a case. You'll have a deadlock. It's going to take even longer to hear cases unless they revamp the judicial system on the Supreme level and parcel out the number. I don't know. It forces us to evolve the system, not in a organic way, but in response to politics, and it doesn't really sit well with me.
Proactivity. It will not allow for
It'll be deadlocked. It'll always have to be an odd number, and it'll be deadlocked. So,
yep.
I don't know. Well, if we win the election and we win the House, we can kick out Kavanaugh. Let's get him out. Personally, I would get rid of Clarence, because what the hell has he done? Huh?
Kavanaugh sniveling ass. I can't stand
Kavanaugh. Yeah, get rid of Kavanaugh and Clarence.
These are lifetime positions. Nothing we can do. The only thing they need to rewrite the laws coming in. They limit the federal court
have to go
to at least maybe no more than 15 years. They need to do the same thing with the Supreme Court. If you look at the Supreme Court on the state level, it has term limits. Okay, it's not lifetime. And I think it's time that they look at the Supreme Court judges, and look at the federal court judges, and those position and district judges. They don't need to be lifetime anymore. It's time then to get rid of the electoral college. It has run its course.
Yeah, 15 years might not be enough, because if you look at a president, if they're a two-term president, I just think it increases instability a little bit. Maybe 20.
15 years, more than 15 would be sufficient.
15 years is enough. Here in Maryland, the circuit court judges and the district court judges only serve 15 years, and then they have to retire.
But when you look at how long it takes to get a case before the Supreme Court to begin with, is 15 years enough? 15
years is enough. If you go past 15 years, you might as well go ahead and do lifetime.
Well, I do think that I remember when I worked in government, if there was even the whiff of impropriety, you couldn't keep your job. If you even allowed somebody to buy you a cup of coffee, you would be reprimanded. For two Supreme Justices now to be on the highest court of the land and brought before the court during their nomination process and whatnot, their vetting process, and have women accusing them of assault, harassment, etc., witnesses, documentation, like there needs to be a threshold, both in terms of how much of that nonsense is on somebody's plate before it automatically disqualifies them as a candidate, and the quality of the evidence used against them, so that we don't have to worry about some kind of nonsense like what the Republican Party is doing now, when they manufacture evidence, lie, flip the script, change stories, change a narrative in order to win their case. And I say to people online all the time, have the courage of your convictions. If you are right and your position is just, the evidence should speak for itself. You should not have to manufacture things, put up troll nonsense, lie, put up this guy's picture associated with this crime to make your point narrative about racism or whatever ism you want. Have the courage of your convictions and stand by the evidence. And if the evidence doesn't support your position, I guess you got to do a little thinking and some soul searching.
Okay, but it started with Clarence Thomas, okay? The pubic hair in the Coke cup, okay? That's where it started. And then when they didn't do anything with Clarence Thomas, it was open season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know what? I have to believe that.
It might even go further back to Robert Kennedy, honestly, when he left that girl dead in a car.
No,
Ted Kennedy. There just comes a point where the system should not work to protect you like that. That's not what it was for.
It does. Look at the police officers.
That's a whole nother story. The qualified immunity bullshit needs to go. That needs to go.
They all get protected. You
Wow.
know, so, I mean, Ruth got it. She opened the doors. They might get slammed, but the door has been opened. And I think enough of the young, you know, when you look at it on TV, the young ladies who were going to, you know, pay their respects to her at the Supreme Court, that's what she was that hero. Okay, and I think you got to realize things are going to change one day, but they're going to change slowly as some of these old fogies die off. Okay.
The problem is you got some young folks sucking at the teat of some of these old fogies.
Well, you're always going to have that. I mean,
Well, yeah, because you got people who really want power, so you're going to have that anyway. Yeah. But what we want to do is we want to hope and we want to pray that the other folks, the other young folks, are in this for the right reasons. They're in this for country. They're in this for the people, and not
AOC. AOC.
You know,
AOC.
yeah. You know, so
AOC.
you're gonna have some who look at what is going on right now, and they feel this rush for power, and that's why they will go into politics. I mean, that's what you have there now. These people started out in politics young, most of them, and they were there for the power.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, there's second and third generation politicians who are in it for the power, 100%.
Yeah, it's the power.
And if you look at a lot of those Republicans aren't going to be around, okay? Because of them being idiots, you know, they go to these rallies with no mask on. So, I mean, we're going to lose a few of them along the way to the virus. I mean, you got to realize this virus is here to stay, okay? A lot of them don't want to wear masks. They don't want to wear.
200,000 people. It hasn't touched one of them yet.
It's touching some of them.
No, it was Armageddon.
It's slowly but surely getting them, okay?
Yeah, but they're not dropping.
They're not dropping fast enough.
But I truly believe that some of them have been infected.
Oh yeah.
But the word has not been put out.
Mm-hmm.
That we knew in the beginning.
Close to the best.
We knew in the beginning that there were like 4 or 5 of them that got infected, but they got better. And voila, just like that. Guess what? Because they have healthcare, because they have doctors, because they had access to whatever drugs that they weren't pushing on the general population, like hydrochloroquine. You still have assholes out there saying that this pandemic is a hoax. You know, apparently the entire world is in on it.
Clorox must be working because, you know, a lot of them drank Clorox, so it must be working. You know.
In which case, COVID could be legitimately be blamed as the cause of death because they drank it to avoid COVID. Or it's either COVID or stupid, one or the other. Pick your pick.
Both.
Both. Yeah. Well, y'all, we're down to 4 minutes left. Who wants to put a cap on this tonight? No, not me. Point the other way. Yeah.
I use 2 fingers. I win. Neener, neener, neener. Reggie,
God.
you got to pay for that, Reggie. Come on now.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that the next few weeks are going to be quite interesting. I don't think that just because Trump and McConnell are pushing to replace Ginsburg is going to be the end of that story. There's going to be more to it because there are going to be some stark comparisons to whomever they do pick to Ginsburg because she has made such history with her contributions to the highest court. So I don't think that's going to be the end of the story just because you know she has passed on. I think that there's going to be more to this, a lot of comparison. And I do believe that when it comes to this confirmation hearing that they're supposed to have, I think it's a joke, but I think that we're going to hear a whole lot more that's going to solidify why they should have waited. And it's going to be, yeah, I think so. I think that it's going to be something that is probably going to put really a stiff feather, you know, in the cap when it comes to the Democrats who were trying to fight to hold off placing a replacement for Ginsburg. I think that it's gonna be something that's gonna be ugly, that is going to be running in conjunction with this upcoming election. It's gonna be ugly. That it is gonna be.
This Amy Barrett
I don't think
character is the antithesis of RPG. And she's, her belief system, her anti-abortion stance, her very membership in this Praise for People organization that says men have the right to tell women what to do, is the literal antithesis of everything that RPG stood for. And, unfortunately, we the people don't get to vote on this. We have to rely on the people in the Senate.
We put in office.
And they've already demonstrated to us that either they have no backbone or they have an agenda. And it's that agenda which deeply concerns me.
And you should be concerned.
I think she'll be confirmed in 2 weeks after the announcement, because Lindsey Graham is going to slam her right through the committee. And I think she'll be in and out of committee in a week. And I think week after next, they'll be voting on her. Okay?
Bite your tongue when you say that.
They don't care. They don't care.
Well, let me ask you
No, they
this
care. That's why they're doing it.
They don't care.
Let me ask you guys this last question, and we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything that the Democrats can do when we're facing an issue like this? What is it that they can do to oppose this next person coming into Ginsburg's seat? This person.
They can oppose all day long. They don't have the votes. That's the problem. They need the votes.
The only thing I think they can do is blast out the media. The only problem is Trump already took the teeth out of the media by starting the whole fake news bullshit. So look, there was a big brouhaha about Kavanaugh, and that didn't do it.
That didn't do anything.
That didn't do anything. So, unfortunately, and they have the majority, as Reggie said.
Yeah, unless you find a picture of her as a striptease artist or a
go-go our first lady is back.
Hello. The only way that would work against her is if she looked ugly in it.
Well, she might. You never know. But we unfortunately, this is it's nothing we can do. Pelosi even talked about, somebody asked Pelosi because they had heard that they were talking about impeaching him again. I think that might be a bad move, because we would definitely lose the election then. It will teed off a lot of people. Right. So we haven't done what we need to do in the last 10 or 15 years. We haven't kept control of the Senate or the White House. Okay.
Well, hopefully it will all be a lesson for anything up and coming.
But like we said earlier, what's going to happen if Biden wins and we have the Senate? Are we going to come as one and be strong, or are we going to still have that split in the Democratic Party where now we don't want to deal with the far left, we want to stay in the middle of the road? And that's
Democrats need to get over it. Deal with the hand that you have in your deck and push it as hard as you can. Biden's the nominee, not Bernie. Get over it and just back him as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can do. That allowing 20 some odd people to run and be on that stage was absolute ridiculousness.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about throwing shit against the wall to wait and see what sticks.
I'm talking about when they get in office. What are they going to do? How are they going to govern? Granted, AOC and those did put a term limit on Pelosi, but the Senate hasn't done anything on Schumer.
Right.
So the leadership has, look, I love all those old folks. I know some of them, but it's time to let the youngins come in and run things. Regardless if they're too tough, too strong on, let them run it. It's time for Pelosi, Hoyer, Clyburn, and those guys to sit down, okay, and mix it up.
I'll let them sit down after we win the House, after we win the White House.
Well, even if we don't win the White House, we've got to have a change. We got to have somebody that got some spine. We got to have people that go after these Republicans, but take the gloves off and knock them out.
100%.
Young people. That's these young people.
Yeah, and that's what we
Oh,
need.
could you imagine AOC as the speaker?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that would be
That
something.
tickle my fancy. Yeah.
You'll scare them all.
That would be something.
Let me say this about AOC. Even though AOC is a fireball, at the end of the day, she would be a firm but fair Speaker of the House. Okay.
Oh, yes.
She knows she can't get nothing done without the rest of them. Okay. And I think she'd be firm but fair.
I never thought about that. I'm glad you said that, Miss Gerald. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That'd be wicked to see, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
Or as my sister would say, that'd be wicked awesome.
Yeah, that gives
Well, I think
Goosebumps, eh?
is this it for Pelosi, or she got another year?
she has another year.
What was it? 4 years or 2 years? What was it?
I don't know.
4.
But she agreed to it. And you know AOC gonna hold her feet to the fire.
Oh yeah, because she's something tough. She is something tough. All right, y'all. Well, we are out of here. I really, really want to say thank you to everyone who sat in and watched the show tonight. I'm hoping that we said some things to give you thought and hoping that you got something out of it. But you can always follow Real World News TV right here on Facebook. Just go to Facebook, type in Real World News TV. Always every Tuesday night with Reggie Kearney and Jara Ann Chapin. I'm used to sitting behind the controls. As you can tell, I was yawning. So
You know, you can't say the word yawn.
But to catch up on some of the shows, head on over to hottopicstalkradio.com, and you can always follow Real World News TV to get show notifications of what's coming up next and see what they're talking about after they're airing the shows. See what they're posting. Tomorrow night, I am welcoming you to join me, Yvonne Baker, and we have a guest, Mr. Lance Reed, sitting in for Chris Smith tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Tomorrow night, the show topic, get this, women making the first move.
Hey.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Well, I need the lesson. So,
Stick with me, kid.
Women making the first move, is it appropriate? Are women supposed to do that? Is that, too unlike old fashioned? So that's what we're going to be talking about. Yeah.
Are you coming out like with a WAP video, or are you, buying somebody a drink and saying hello?
Anyway, so join us tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio, again with me, Yvonne Baker, with our guest co-host, Mr. Lance Reed. Tomorrow night starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. And it should be fun. So come on back here next Tuesday for Real World News TV. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We really appreciate all of your support. And don't forget, start making a plan to vote. Start making your plans to vote. There's no way that you should not. So with that being said, we're out.
Yep.
Peace.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.